This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories, and welcome to my breakdown of both the Ahsoka trailer and everything that has currently been announced at Star Wars Celebration. And I'm obviously not going to be able to get everything done. I have to do other stuff, but I do have enough time to record this breakdown, and I'm really excited to break down this trailer. And before that, I'm going to go and break down a few parts of news that we do have about the new Star Wars films, and I'll go in the chronological order. The first film we're getting is based off of the beginning of the Jedi Order, which was explored right towards the end of Legends in the novel Dawn of the Jedi, and I'm definitely going to be getting the audiobook of that so I can listen through it and give my review. That'll be out probably in a few weeks. Not sure when I'm going to get it, but I definitely do want to look at that so I could ultimately compare it when the movie comes out. Assuming it does, because we've got so many canceled movies, but we at least have concepts for them now. And that's a lot better than just having blank director is making blank movie. So it at least helps for that. And although I really am excited for this one, I'm not excited for it as for the second announced film, which is definitely my most anticipated one, which is Dave Filoni's film set at the end of the Mandoverse, at least for now, and will be ultimate conclusion to everything. And for my best guess, this is going to be based off of the Thrawn trilogy, most likely The Last Command, which is the final book in the trilogy, and we'll see Thrawn's ultimate attempt to invade the New Republic, and we'll also get a story where, most likely on Mount Tantus, we'll see probably Ahsoka, Din Djarin, maybe Luke. If Din's there, Grogu will probably be there. Ezra and some of the Rebels characters will be infiltrating what I'm going to assume is going to be Mount Tantus to fight most likely Jorah Sabayoth. I'll talk about him during the trailer, but that's my best prediction, and it's probably going to be a little different, but I'll probably have the story on two fronts where we'll get a story with some of the more fighter based and New Republic military structured characters where we'll get to see probably like Hera, maybe even Han Solo. Not sure about that, but these are just predictions. We'll see them leading the war against Thrawn, and again, I guess most likely Jorah Sabayoth. We'll see Ezra and Ahsoka probably leading that, with Din Djarin and a few others going to take him down there. Yeah, honestly, this has the most potential. I really am excited to see what they do with it. And if it is based off the Thrawn trilogy, I really hope that Timothy Zahn has some involvement in it. But now to move on to the most controversial of all these, we'll be getting another film with Rey, and her new Jedi Order, and this film is either going to be the film that makes or breaks the post-sequel era. It's really important for them to get this right because the sequels are already extremely controversial, and this film is already extremely controversial because not many people liked Rey, and I am willing to give it a chance and to see what they do, but they need to be very careful, and I think that honestly they need to be looking into Rey and her trying to escape from her legacy being related to Palpatine because I think that's probably the most interesting story they could go with since it is something that people had to deal with, and obviously talking about stuff post World War II and the family of, like, I'm just gonna say you know who, because they did agree to not even have children to not continue that line, but I'm interested to see at least what they could do with that, and I think that's their best story chance, but I honestly have no idea, and this film is a potential danger waiting to happen, but the other two films seem really interesting, and I really do want to see those two a lot, and this third one, I really think it could go either way. And then some of the other stuff they talk about, Andor Season 2 will be out next summer. I think the Acolyte's supposed to be out early next year and be very combat focused, and that seems like it could be really good, especially if it is a partial adaptation of Darth Plagueis. And Skeleton Crew looks like it's going to be out, I think, later this year or early next year. That's all interesting, but I'm interested to see what they do. And honestly, let's just go straight into this trailer breakdown because although I might have a video tomorrow, I'm not sure about what they're going to be dropping tomorrow, but I'll probably have a video tomorrow. I will not do anything for Easter Sunday for Star Wars Celebration, and instead I'll do probably two videos on Monday. One breaking down everything revealed on Easter Sunday, and probably one that might break down everything that's released that day, although that video might come out on Tuesday. And obviously, if anything else gets announced or drops later today, I will be talking about that tomorrow. But it's time to go and break down the Ahsoka trailer.
Something's coming. Something dark.
And just a quick note, I'm changing a couple things a little bit. I'm going to do a break every approximately 10 seconds so I don't get a copyright claim on the video for when I'm eventually able to get the channel monetized. But that's still a pretty long way off. I just want to do it like that. So I'm just giving you this note for the future. But we begin with Ahsoka saying that there's something that's wrong in the galaxy and she's beginning to sense it as she is walking towards this temple, which I'm assuming is something probably connected to Mortis or just something that she could use to look into the location of Ezra and Thrawn. Not really sure, but some of the markings do remind me of Mortis, which we'll talk about a little more in just a second.
I sense it.
We begin to see these circular markings inside this temple that Ahsoka enters into through a really cool scene, and honestly, I think that it does look pretty interesting, and the marks do remind me of the stuff that was put on both the World Between Worlds, which was heavily connected to Mortis and the planet itself. And honestly, I am wondering what they're going to do to connect this to Mortis, if anything, because that could be really interesting, and I really am curious to see what they do with that.
This is a new beginning.
We now get to see our first look at Sabine, and I'll say it looks pretty good. I'm surprised that, well, she now has longer hair, especially compared to how she looked in the finale of Rebels. But that's gonna be a slight retcon, but still, she looks pretty good in live action, and I am interested to see what they do with her since I'm guessing she's gonna be the second most important character in the show, and will be the one that is with Ahsoka for most of it.
For some, war.
We then get to look at the quick scene of Ahsoka fighting and one of Hera piloting the Phantom 2, and someone saying that for some will be war, and I think that it's gonna be really interesting to see the entire Ghost crew in live action. We just saw Zeb a few weeks ago in The Mandalorian, and we get to see everyone else at least briefly during this trailer, and it's most interesting that they are being brought back, and I'm not sure if we will get a quick view of Kanan in live action, some kind of flashback, but so far he's the only one that hasn't been seen, and I'm not gonna pause over the picture of Chopper since it takes place just after this one, but he is returning to live action since he did appear in Rogue One. So let's go and continue the trailer.
For others, power.
We then get to see the same guy continuing talking about power, and we get to see this dark Jedi, and I think it's really interesting that we'll look at this better in other shots, that she has kind of an off-colored lightsaber, and it's more like an orangish red, and I think it's going to be an artificial kyber crystal, and they aren't going to be full-on Sith, and it's going to be some kind of cult, I think most likely of clones, and I'll talk about that more when I get to my more clear shot of the guy who was saying this.
It's been a while. Things have changed.
We now get to see the continuation from the end of Rebels in the beginning of the conversation, most likely of, and this is probably what the beginning of this conversation is, of when Ahsoka talks to Sabine so they could go on the quest to save Ezra, and this scene will probably act as a small account of what happened in Star Wars Rebels, since a lot of people refuse to watch animation, and it will tell them what has happened. So, I'm thinking there's gonna be at least a few of these, and honestly, I think that this is one where a recap of a previously on that could show some major events from both the Clone Wars and Rebels will be extremely helpful, but I have no idea if they will do that, and honestly, I am not sure really, but it does look interesting to see this continuing directly off of Rebels, so it's pretty cool to see that.
I started hearing whispers.
We then get to take a look at some of the higher-ups in the New Republic and get a focus on Mon Mothma as Ahsoka talks about how she began to hear whispers, and I'm really interested to see what they do with the New Republic leadership in this and honestly, I think this is going to be very pivotal in setting up the film from Dave Filoni, which I talked about earlier, that I think is most likely based off of The Last Command. And honestly, that was pretty cool to think about. And I really am excited to see what we get to see into the New Republic leadership in this. I'm really excited, but not as excited I am to talk about this next scene.
About Thrawn's return.
We then get Ahsoka talking about Thrawn's return, and we get our first look at Grand Admiral Thrawn in live action. Honestly, it looks incredible, and I'm not really sure where he is. This is obviously not an Imperial ship, and is some kind of facility. It could be on Mount Tantus. I'm not too sure because we haven't got to see too much of it. Or it might be some kind of Chiss ship returning from the unknown regions, and that could be Mount Tantus in the background, and it's not made super clear, so we can't easily identify it since it has been very prominent in the Bad Batch.
As heir to the Empire.
We then get the line of Ahsoka saying as heir to the Empire, and seeing in what is most likely a ship, since this looks like the same place Thrawn was, and we see it in space, and this looks like Morgan Elsbeth from The Mandalorian, although I can't remember if she's dead, and even if she is, I think this is probably a flashback of Thrawn's return to the galaxy and making it to the facility. Again, I think most likely at Mount Tantus.
We have to prepare for the worst.
We then get to see a few other scenes and see Hera saying how they have to prepare for the worst. And then we get to see this other Dark Jedi who was talking earlier. And as you can see, kind of see his off-color lightsaber. And it's not fully red, but it's more of like an orangish red. And I think that this is Joruus Sabayoth. Or they could go with this clone name, Joruus Sabayoth. But I'm not too sure if they will do that. And at least through that name to have the more odd pronunciation with him being a clone. And I think it is pretty interesting to see so many Dark Jedi in this, and I think that they will be evil clones, and it's pretty interesting to be able to see this. And honestly, I think that if this is Sabayoth, this will be definitely setting up a Thrawn movie, and I expect both him and Thrawn to make it out of this perfectly alive and ready to be the ultimate threat in that film. But if this is in Sabayoth, it isn't a full deconfirmation, but I expect Thrawn to making it out of this show mainly intact, and the biggest blow is going to be him losing Ezra, and I think that this is almost certainly Sabayoth, and we'll be seeing him going on a rampage and see his clone madness.
The Jedi fell a long time ago. There aren't many left.
We then get to see, I'm just going to be calling Sabayoth for the rest of the video, going on a killing spree like Vader, and We get to hear how there's not many Jedi left as we see Sabine look upon a hologram of live action Ezra, and this looks pretty cool. I can't tell if she has his lightsaber in this scene, but it would make sense. I can't really tell what's by her hand. There was something that looks a little metallic there, although that might just be a thing of the lighting, and I'm not too sure, but that could be his lightsaber. We then get to see who I think is one of the last Inquisitors, or at least has an Inquisitor lightsaber, and you can tell that since if you looked closely at the scene, you saw that it had the small little circle an Inquisitor's lightsaber had. So I am interested to see if this is a clone or an Inquisitor that was somehow able to survive all the events of the fall of the Empire. And honestly, that looks really cool, and I really am enjoying this. We then get to see a bunch of descriptive things of Ahsoka versus warrior, outcast, and rebel as we see her jumping out of the window at this facility, and honestly, it looks really cool. And I honestly really did enjoy this. But let's go into the final scenes of this trailer.
Perhaps it is time to begin again.
And yeah, honestly, this trailer looks awesome. We got to finally see Jedi, and this is something that she has had a struggle with being, and with her rejection from the Order and everything. But I think like that's in here, and then we get to see Ewing, who is the droid that helped Jedi younglings construct their lightsabers, and that's gonna be really cool to see him in here. And I expect that he's going to survive this and continue on into probably the post-sequel era, and you might even see him in that Rey movie. We finally get to see Ahsoka igniting her lightsabers, and yeah, honestly, this trailer looks like it's going to be setting up an amazing show, and I really just can't wait to see Ahsoka after it comes out, and this looks just so interesting. I really am excited to see what Dave Filoni does with this, and he clearly loves the character of Ahsoka and writing her, so I can't wait to see what he does with this, and yeah, honestly, I'm really excited, and although the Rey news might turn out really bad, the rest of the stuff announced today is extremely exciting, and I can't wait to see what they do with it. But I want to know what you think. Please let me know in the comments, and I'll see you on the next episode of Legends and Theories. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please subscribe, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, check out the video on screen, and may the Force be with you.